Certainty Principle by David Light, Chapter 6, Section 5, The Calculus of Long-Term Temporal Perspective. It's tough to break a lifetime habit of short-term thinking. However, becoming skilled early in the disciplines of long-term temporal perspective makes a life more manageable and productive. The oath of military service, for example, promises to support and defend the Constitution, clearly an LTTP reinforced by months of training and years of practical reinforcement. Is it a coincidence that U.S. veteran households are economically better off than those of non-vets? Bennett, 2019. I wasn't so disciplined, but as the benefit of LTTP became clear to me, I became interested in learning how to use it. I noticed that those who create enduring values seem to have mastered a long-term perspective. Though ambition and aspiration are key to achievement, we'd still be living in caves if not for those who learned to develop their LTTP. No airplanes, no batteries, no calculus, no zippers. None came from the myopic masses of short-term thinkers. So if the long view prevails as a strategy for achievement, what then of the very, very long view? What of St. Jack's forever principle? What are the consequences when the domain of reasoning is no longer constrained by the rather arbitrary limitations implicit by my lifetime? As a practical matter, what constitutes my lifetime is highly conditional, only minimally within my control. Brains struggle with creating and maintaining timelines of accountability when the duration is so variable. Hence, the many who defer responsibility to a fatalistic philosophy if it's meant to be. It's worthwhile to invoke a little mathematics here to precise my point. In calculus terms, my purpose in life can be characterized by the following definite integral. M, my mandate, what I do, what my duty is the integral of my values, or my value function, over time. M is my meaning, my mandate, my individual accountability, my purpose. V of t is the time-dependent function of my values, the ones I constantly employ in my decision-making process to achieve that mandate. The integral of my value function creates no meaning when the proper limit of my accountability is undefined. What if t equals a week, a month, a year? How does my mandate change? It gains definition, but I can't see the whole picture or the whole potential of my values. The only way to see it all is by setting t equal to infinity. Now I can evaluate the entire area under the curve. The result can be astounding. This integral either converges to a specific mandate, proper, or it diverges to meaninglessness, improper, depending on the value of v of t. If the latter, meaningless, then it's clearly time to reevaluate my values. It's time to ask yourself what exactly it is that you believe in. The famous quote attributed to Steve Jobs illustrates, "We're here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why else even be here?" As quoted by Sheff in 1985. This quote suggests the power of such limitless perspective on Jobs' domain of accountability to his values. That my mandate can only manifest itself when I evaluate what really matters to me over the long view is a somewhat uncanny and unsettling finding. Failing to evaluate my purpose in terms of the forever principle prevents the self-knowledge from which the well of certainty is plumbed. Otherwise, I'm only guessing at meaning, and guessing is not a long-term strategy for achievement. And what of the T0 limit? Again from Jobs, quote, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever." 2,000 years before Jobs made this famous declaration at Stanford, Marcus Aurelius admonished the error in ignoring the importance of T0. Quote, "There's immense importance in learning from the past," unquote. Aurelius 170 AD. The Jobs Aurelius past dot connecting, it would appear, is about integrating my values from the beginning, whatever the beginning is for me. For me, seeing my future meant first reaching back in history. Section 6, Biochemical Immortality. Apparently, immortality is within our grasp. Ray Kurzweil asks, "Do we have the knowledge and tools today to live forever?" Unquote. According to many models, the paradigm shift rate, which is the rate of technical progress, is doubling every decade, and the capacity, price, performance, capacity, and speed of specific information technologies is doubling every year. So Kurzweil's answer is likely to be a definitive yes. Quote from Kurzweil: "The knowledge exists, if aggressively applied, to slow aging and disease processes to such a degree that you can be in good health and good spirits when the more radical life-extending and life-enhancing technologies become available over the next couple of decades." Unquote. Kurzweil, Grossman, 2004. Researcher Helen Blau and her lab at Stanford have discovered a technique for increasing the length of chromosomal telomeres, the DNA fuse, so to speak, on the cellular aging process. Quote, "Treated cells behave as if they are younger than untreated cells, multiplying with abandon in the laboratory dish rather than stagnating or dying." Unquote. Blau, 2015. Mapping such technology from a Petri dish to people will be complicated, but the when and how it happens is secondary to the potential impact of radical life extension. After all, does the knowledge that my investments will create enough wealth for my children and grandchildren impact my thinking about finance? The answer is a resounding yes. So what is the impact of knowing that technology will soon exist with the potential for allowing these same grandchildren to live to be, say, 150 years? Whether or not I am conscious of it, the mental model of how I perceive myself existentially as a being determines the way I interact with myself and others and with the world around me. With greater or lesser confidence, I hold an image of my place in the world that serves as a practical template for living, defining my individual identity and the scope or horizon within which that identity functions. Come with me on a journey to explore the implications of the death-free life that will soon be within our reach. Consider what happens when we replace the old saw, "Nothing certain but death and taxes," with "Nothing certain but taxes." It may appear at first that this problem is not my problem, but bear with me. What I've discovered is that the practical lessons of the Forever Framework address some of the central challenges that badger us in our mundane lives.